BuzzPOP hari ini kita bakal membedah filem Venom, THERE BE CARNAGE. Para panelis kita malam ini terdiri daripada saya, Nadzru Iskandar daripada BuzzPOP TV. Kaki review kita Feris Othman Yunos. What's up bro? Venom. Okay. Seterusnya Kaki cosplay kita Wan Muhammad. What's up bro? Nice one man. Klasik.
Eddie, mana kau Eddie?
Dan terakhir sekali kaki buku kita Jamal Raslan. What's up Jamal?
Aku nak carnage terhadap Sony. Just when they gave us hope for the first Venom film. Lepas tu dia
tarik balik dia babi.
Baik, kita akan bincangkan lagi dalam segmen-segmen kita yang seterusnya. Kita ada beberapa lagi panelis, rasanya Miharu, Hadi dan Nazir. Okay, Nazir dah join. Tapi I guess the rest will join us midway lah. What's up Nazir? How you doing bro?
Hi, sorry, as usual, jump to another universe again.
Alright, biasalah.
The universe where Topper Grace become Eddie Brock again. Eddie Brock Jr.
Tu aku tak faham.
We haven't started yet.
Yes. Okay guys, so dengan itu kita akan mulakan perbincangan atau pembedahan kita malam ini dengan reaksi satu ayat.
Nick, ada soalan.
Jamal. Ya.
Adakah ini pembedahan atau adakah ini operasi kita pukul the cadaver?
Yes. Adakah is this a trash talk, a trash movie, a movie trash station?
Is this a post-mortem?
Dia lebih macam bukan post-mortem pun. Ini
Ni
macam
kita beat the dead horse kan?
tak.
Yes,
The horse tak mati lagi.
Benda tu dah mati dah. Benda tu dah mati.
Oh.
We're just walking away from the morgue. Yeah, we're just walking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So dah pukul dah lah.
Dah. Dia dah kena pukul, dia dah mati.
We milk the dead horse, Jamal. We milk the dead horse.
So maksudnya kau nak korek dia balik, lepas tu nak pukul sekali lagi lah, just in case.
Kau buat lah
Tak
itu,
ada
tak
nak
nak.
pukul pun.
Aku
Kita tak nak
tak ada masa nak buat benda tu.
Kita nak cerita tentang dia di kayangan. Ya, dia dah mati.
Dia di kayangan, dia kat neraka bro. Kau cakap apa?
Okeylah. Jadi aku akan mulakan reaksi satu ayat aku dengan Venom, THERE BE CARNAGE. Forgettable at most and a waste of everybody's time. Except for the post credit. Jadi, apakah reaksi satu ayat anda? Kita mulakan dengan, silakan Feris.
Venom, THERE BE CARNAGE. Venom, there be no more sequels. Venom, there be remain in only the MCU. Venom, what the hell, there be segala-gala dia. It's an okay film lah. It's an okay macam, tapi okay dia macam middle tapi dia akan menurun gitu. It's made for the people who just want to enjoy and don't want to think so much kind of movie. But for people like us who love all the superhero genre, kita korek, kita fikir balik, what the fuck are you trying to do, man? What the fuck are you trying to do? This is ridiculous. Pacing semua teruk, rushing, kau dah macam nak enjoy, lepas tu kau dah pergi sana, mana? Venom, let there be some arah tuju tapi tiada arah tuju.
Okay. Tak dengar.
Kemudian Nick. Nick cakap apa? Tak dengar. Nick tengah mute.
Silakan Jamal.
Sorry. Aku rasa aku tak benda ni masa aku awal-awal sebab aku rasa orang terawalkan dalam grup tengok cerita ni. Sebab aku pergi Hollywood kan. My comment is very simple. This film is 20 years too late. It is such a dated film yang would feel probably more at home back in 2002, 2003 than would have been better received then. Even so, it would have still been lacking a lot in the storytelling department. Aku rasa it's a monumental waste of money and time to be doing a film that feels so dated now when you have already done a barely decent first Venom film and you have worked with Marvel for at that point in time, for 2 Super Spider-Man movies and 3-4 movies yang ada Spider-Man yang best. Like, how can you be... Yeah. So macam, I feel like if this film came out right after Spawn in the late 90s, people would have been like, wow, this has been a seminal, this would have been the best adaptation of a Spidey film at that point in time. But nope. And aku tak tahu lah, maybe, I don't know man, that's how I feel. The only thing I like in it is Eddie Brock, still Eddie Brock from the first film, that's it. And it's not that,
this is the same studio that did Into the Spider-Verse, okay? Yet they can still come up with this dated bullshit.
Okay, kita kena faham how filmmaking is lah kan. So the studio commissions the film, it produces the film, tapi the production team is not necessarily the same. The creative team for each film is not necessarily the same. So, but your question is still valid lah, because kalau kau dah buat Into the Spider-Verse and you have done a very decent first Venom film and you've been part of a few very good Spider-Man films, masa kau tengah buat focus group, takkanlah kau macam, okay, something is not quite right here.
Betul. Okay, seterusnya Wan, silakan Wan, reaksi satu ayat. Wan, kau tengah mute. Ya.
Kau tengah mute, Wan.
Amy Pascal tengah mute aku sebenarnya. Ni saya satu ayat aku dah.
Wan, aku rasa Amy Pascal tak mute kau, Kathleen Kennedy yang mute.
Kenapa dia sibuk?
Sebab dia tanam kau petik Star Wars lagi.
Ini dah satu ayat aku dah. Eddie, kita kat mana ni Eddie? Eddie, siapa orang tu Eddie? I can't hold back any longer. Eddie, dia tak tahan berak ke apa ni Eddie? Kau siapa? Kau siapa? Itulah dah satu ayat aku tu je. Yang best. Tu je. Dah.
Itu dia yang best.
Cukup.
Aku rasa bila Wan buat macam tu, macam aku teringat Sesame Street.
Okay, Nazir, silakan Nazir.
Venom, honeymoon over already? That's what I can say. I mean, dude. Okay. Aku ingat we only get one particular scene in our life for kantor bike. Rupanya tak. We got second kantor bike dalam Venom. Especially Venom dekat disco. Aku macam, babi betul. We got kantor bike flashback all over again.
Betul. Random tu. Dia pergi clubbing tu random gila tu.
Random gila. Okay, but apa ni actually yang tu tunjuk how Zoomer actually, sebab dia orang dah tak kisah pasal alien lagi dah. So macam nampak Venom, dude, nice costume. But basically those an alien that can basically makan kepala semut dalam tu saja. Venom boleh tahu, dia just
tapi dia kena nerf. Dia kena nerf pasal dia tengah emo dalam scene tu bro. Dia tengah
aku macam, wait, dude, apa hal?
Betul lah.
Aduh.
Tapi antara Venom pergi clubbing dengan Bully Maguire, aku rasa aku lagi suka Bully Maguire.
Yes, aku lagi suka. Okay, Bully Maguire punya scene dekat Jazz Club was the best.
Yeah, man.
Top, memang top. There is apa, kau cari lah Andrew Garfield ke, kau cari Tom Holland ke, Bully Maguire will always have this kind of monumental of scene yang where Toby being himself, not Peter Parker but Toby.
Yeah.
Very sesi, very Jay-Z, just like that. I mean okay lah. Kalau apa ni for Spider-Man, kita kalau nak tengok for apa ni Andrew, he's chappy. Dia memang banyak mulut. That was one of the trait of Peter Parker. But kalau dalam lakonan, aku goes for the Toby lah. And Tom Holland, aku nampak cuba nak balance for the both actually. Both chappy, both also action. But of course, with the backup of Pakcik Iron Man lah, for sure lah, dengan Pakcik Happy. That's for sure lah.
Cool. Okay guys, so selalunya bila kita ada sesi bedah ni, kita akan bincangkan tentang poin-poin hambar dan poin-poin hebat. Tapi pasal filem ni dah automatically hambar, kita akan fast forward dan terus ke rating.
Wow, rating terus.
Jadi
tak payah susah.
Yeah, let's not beat around the bush. Yeah, it's a shit movie, and Sony wasted Carnage by having Venom bite Carnage head off in the third act. There is nothing redeeming about Andy Serkis punya ham-fisted direction ataupun Tom Hardy punya car crash script. Ya, pelakon tulis skrip. Aku ada satu message lah to Tom Hardy. Please don't quit your day job. Rating aku untuk Venom adalah 2/5 bintang. Silakan Feris.
I give this movie what did I give on the this? I give 5.5 out of 10 lah, because credit should be given where credit is due lah, especially because the visual effects is nice. You know, people put a lot of effort in it. But I've always said, no matter how cantik your visual effects, tapi kalau story kau tetap tahi, the movie is still overall tahi for me. It's made for the people. How should I say? Okay, I give you an example. My brother loves it because it's funny. And I had an argument with him. I mean, he's not a Kaki Filem ke apa, but he loves it because it's funny. I said, so the character is not made. Why make a superhero movie just to be a funny bike or a comedy terus? So it's made for, you know, it sounds a bit prejudiced lah. I don't know whether you guys understand me. It's made for the guys that, you know, don't care whether it's superhero or movie, they just want to see blow up CGI effect. You know, CGI is cantik. I give credit. Yes, nice. But the story, eventually aku turunkan markah. So 5.5 out of 10. Hambar.
Okay.
Feris,
Nazir, silakan.
If I may rephrase your mean actually, you mean this is a popcorn movie for the average goers yang doesn't think too much over technicality or whatever. For they just want to enjoy the movie. Bagi aku, kalau if you look this movie on a certain aspect, this is just a average popcorn movie. Sebab, I mean, come on, Venom PG-13 doesn't match at all. It's basically you just tease like that, but dude, where is the goal? Where is the carnage stuff yang kita nak? We got nothing. What we got is an off-screen chop head. There is no blood or anything. Nothing. So it's just a popcorn movie diselitkan dengan 45 minit drama lagi PD Venom dengan Eddie Brock. Just for sure lah yang aku tengok. Aku cakap korang ni macam apa pasangan lelaki bini gaduh. Venom nak tu apa Eddie ni, and lagi satu, aku tak tahulah sama ada memang Tom Hardy punya watak macam ni ke apa, tapi ever since, sebab aku tengok Venom back to back tau dengan tu, aku perasan daripada the first Venom, Eddie Brock punya character development ni, dia macam masih lagi work in progress. Macam there is no absolute direction ke mana kau nak pergi. Tak ada. Either kau pergi kiri, kau selekor kanan. Kau pergi kanan, kau selekor kiri. It's always like that. It's always Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy will always look like shit. Walaupun dia dekat on top sekejap, dia become loser, sama je. Always a pure loser dengan dia lah. Memang walaupun ada Venom pun, dia tetap a fucking loser. And that is the thing. Bagi aku, macam even Venom Topper Grace tu, walaupun dia jadi foto dia kejap, dia jadi Venom, at least kau nampak direction dia. Dia dah kena Venom, dia jumpa Sandman, simple. Kita dah bunuh Spider-Man, jom pergi bunuh Spider-Man. Easy as that. Yang ni, sekejap pergi tu, sekejap pergi ni.
Yalah bro, pasal tak ada Spider-Man lah. Sebab tu dia buat filem tapi dia tak boleh ada central conflict. There is no Spider-Man.
Yeah, there is no your opposite, tak ada. Sebab okay lah, at least in the first movie in Riz Ahmed jadi Riot. At least ada Riot apa, walaupun Venom takut Riot sebab Riot is a team leader punya type. But come on, Carnage is your own creation code. It's your own fucking blood. It's just a tiny piece of blood campur dengan Venom.
Ya. Lepas tu dibazirkan macam tu je. Dibazirkan macam, okay kau matilah. Dia cakap lagi, fuck it. Sampai dia makan kepala Carnage.
Okay. Honestly, okay. Itu part yang aku, aku laju ke tak? Kita talk, we can talk with the sequel kalau buat the way.
Sekarang rating dah bro. I'm just asking for your rating. That's it.
Okay, rating aku, I give 4.6 over 10. 4.6 over 10. Sorry, aku tak boleh bagi 5 langsung sebab this movie is sucks.
Okay, silakan Jamal, silakan. Oh, Feris nak
Feris
tambah
macam
apa?
nak cakap sendiri, ya.
Feris, silakan Feris.
Yeah, just to add to the argument is that the fact that kau dah ada a successful movie Venom, dah bagi kau lebih duit, you know, so make it
800
something
juta.
more interesting. Make it something more interesting lah, you know. This one sekadar nak, oh, aku bagi duit lebih, aku tunjuk kau cantik-cantik, you know. But the jalan cerita macam sial. Another an example of a good sequel is James Cameron punya Terminator. The first Terminator was biasa. Ambil Terminator 2 full, story is rich, CGI is much more gempak, you know. So it feels like setakat kau buat filem nak justify yang Sony bagi banyak duit. That's all. That also
Kira
aku rasa
dapat job
Dapat
betul.
job.
Kasih kat member. kasih kat member. Okay, silakan Jamal.
Rating aku, I think I'll give it a flat 5. Only because it's watchable. I think dia memenuhi kriteria watchable film tanpa apa-apa perlu fikir dan sebagainya lah. Without being invested, you go in with very low expectations or very different expectations than the norm, and then you might get some payoff lah. But for me, macam mana cakap? I can't. Macam mana? I'm not gonna say it's bad. Because
it's like
as a
dated.
film,
It's more like dated. Benda
It's
macam
dated.
sebelum 2008.
Yeah.
Dia macam kau
Yeah,
tengok
yeah.
Elektra atau Daredevil atau Punisher atau Ghost
Okay,
Rider.
yes. Okay,
Yeah.
and by saying that, if I were to rewatch Elektra, aku tak lepas 10 minit. Kalau aku tengok balik Daredevil, aku tak tengok langsung Daredevil. Aku takkan tengok sampai sekarang. So it is not as bad as those films. Okay, but if the way I see it, first things first, I was expecting them to ride on whatever momentum they unexpectedly had from the first Venom film. And I think that was the thing that was the confidence that Tom Hardy rode, and then somehow or other managed to convince everyone to let him write the script. So that's why you see a lot of Venom and Eddie punya monologues ataupun macam Nazir cakap kisah rumah tangga, which is fine on its own, tapi that is just the internal side of Venom punya character. But what is the story for the film? You know, you don't pay to watch Venom talk to himself about the world without going anywhere specific. At least if he was going somewhere specific. For example, diorang memang nak split, and then the symbiote memang nak kena tarik balik pergi planet asal ke macam mana ke, and then Eddie realizes that he cannot live without the symbiote. So for something like the symbiote realizing that he needs Eddie in this world when he doesn't even need to belong to this world, without really establishing kenapa Venom and how dia telah merasakan satu sense of belonging atau telah diselamatkan in whatever way by Eddie, by being hosted by Eddie Brock, means benda tu pointless lah. And for me, it's very disappointing for somebody like Tom Hardy, who has acted in quite cerebral films throughout his life. It has been acted in really critically acclaimed films that can be written in so many different ways. Dia dah berlakon Nolan, dia dah berlakon Bronson, films that are fucking cerebral, you know. So I think he might have felt that confidence coming into this film, but dia rasa macam, I'm Eddie Brock, so I want to write something about me, which is fine on its own. Tapi somebody at Sony should have said, that's cool, you will be in the writing team, you're not going to be the lead writer, but you will be in the writing team as one of the main writers. Why? Because you will be writing for Eddie Brock punya character. But the other writers, they will be writing for the film. So the fact that nobody decided to do that and let Eddie Brock be taken care of by Andy Serkis, who is more often than not is associated with specific characters or novelty characters, and how how focused he can be to those characters, to the point that they eschew the overall story punya narrative, dan benda tu hilang lah. Dia tak ada fokus, and it is not, macam mana, it is about Venom, tapi dia tak ada fokus. So you only see Venom lah, Eddie Brock talking to himself, talking to Venom, and I think that is not really grounds for a good film. Going back to the things that I said earlier, engkau adalah studio yang dah buat bukan 1, bukan 2, bukan 3, kau dah buat 8 filem Spider-Man. Di mana dalam 8 tu, 4 are objective failures, 2 are dated but still considered successes, especially the second one. And then Homecoming is by all accounts critical and great success. So you've experienced how to do bad Spider-Man films. You have experienced how to do great Spider-Man films. You have experienced how to do films where you juggle a few characters. And then you had extra money that you unexpectedly got because you just got it right somehow in the first film. Lepas tu kau dah buat Into the Spider-Verse. And you are a pop culture company, you're a gaming company. And you can still do a film that is as forgettable as this. This is the thing, it's not bad, okay? But it's so forgettable. Yang kau dah ada all these records, so like how did somebody let this out of the studio? Like if you want to do a forgettable film, go ahead, but not Carnage. How can you have two very iconic characters by just their silhouettes? Tak payah nak cakap dia punya characterization ke dia punya action scenes. Silhouette dia je, macam wow, Carnage, wow, Venom, wow. And you make it so pedestrian. Like, how? Like, tak boleh. So, for me, that is yang aku takkan boleh nak express lah. Aku rasa macam, like, tak ada orang kat dalam focus group tu pun komen ke benda ni. Or, semua orang tengah still high on the first Venom film dan dia tak sedar yang macam benda ni sebenarnya, ni okay. Just because you have Woody Harrelson. Like, dude, Woody Harrelson cannot save a film on his own. As you can see, even if you have Tom Hardy, and on top of, I think he's writing the script, tak boleh. So I think it's just a very bad judgment lah. Yeah, nobody decided to take any ownership except for except for Tom Hardy maybe. And since nobody else sort of like kept him in line, benda ni jadi macam ni lah. And the worst thing about the film is that it's not even bad. It's not even bad. So aku macam, how can you hit that spot where it's not bad but it's absolutely forgettable and not memorable at all, pedestrian gila babi. At least the first Venom film ada banyak flaws tapi there are a lot of highs that they got right. Ini macam what? And with regards to the CGI, aku daripada dulu tak pernah suka Sony punya CGI. I just do not like the filter ke, the video quality that they use. It's too shiny. The lighting is a bit off. And I'm not saying that I like Marvel punya ni. Marvel is a bit dry if you ask me. Hardy has been on Nolan films, so Nolan films look great. The color correction is great, the color grading is great. Sony punya film semua nampak plastiki. Dia nampak ada plastik punya quality, especially on the CGI. So for me that just makes it worse lah. And I think I know man. No, yes, Tom Hardy deserves better. No, I would like to correct that, Andy. Tom Hardy should have respected himself better. I think he took it easy. Or he got too indulgent and he did not check himself and nobody checked him.
And he got paid a lot of money.
Yes.
Then his other Nolan film.
Betul.
It's just insane. Like in this day and age where you have the internet, where you can rewatch old films, you can study balik what went right, what went wrong. You can have writing teams. You can throw you cannot make this so. I don't even want to go into Carnage. Aku rasa ya Allah, like first thing aku tak suka Woody Harrelson punya casting on Carnage. He's a great Cletus Cassidy, he's not a great Carnage. And I think he doesn't look like Cletus Cassidy. He might be able to method Cletus Cassidy, but he doesn't look like Cletus Cassidy. If anything, aku lagi suka kalau siapa yang jadi Scarecrow dalam Nolan punya Batman?
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
Color his hair red or at least bronze or brunette, and then bagi muka dia kasar sikit. He would the frailness in Cletus Cassidy, tapi mata dia yang bulat besar tu makes that psychotic side of Cletus Cassidy pop up. That's done. Like aku tak tahu man. I just think this film went nowhere. I think Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy just got to 7 Dungeon. It's a B-rated film. I guess it's so dated lah. There's so many things that is off. Like at least Eternals, I know exactly for me lah where it went wrong and what could have been better. Like this film, aku macam I can't quite put a finger on it. Like what?
It's just a
like,
mega clusterfuck.
Dia macam what?
Yeah,
exactly.
Huge clusterfuck.
You know what? I finally watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 a few weeks ago. And I
Aku
think that
baru
is so
tengok
much
semalam.
better. That is
Yep.
so much better than this. Padahal kalau kau tengok at that particular time kau macam, oh, this is trying too hard, man.
Yeah, especially elektro.
You know what?
Elektro.
That is trying too hard. This is barely trying. I don't think this is even like trying. Everybody fucking coasted, man. Everybody fucking coasted.
Yeah, man. Dapat job, kasih job kat member-member macam tu lah. Wan, silakan. Rating untuk kehambaran Venom Let There Be Carnage, silakan. Rating.
Korang kata Hambar, cerita ni best bro, tengok. Mula-mula rasa boring tidur-tidur lah sekali tu. Oh, segar mata. Alhamdulillah. Segar mata aku lelah sekali.
Awek mana tu?
Apa?
Yang kau segar mata.
Kan. Post credit bro. Bukan awake, post credit bro. Bagi pendapat aku lah, rating dia aku bagi 6/10 sebab first of all, it's watchable. Dia punya dynamic cerita tu, dia cakap dengan Venom apa semua aku suka tau. Macam mana dia lawan-lawan, maksudnya kita nampak struggling orang yang ada sembayut tu macam mana, nak hidup normal life tak boleh. Cuma, aku rasa disebabkan they bastardize Venom so much in the first one actually. Sebab Venom is a villain. Dan suddenly kau buat dia jadi macam anti-hero because of there's no Spider-Man. And I think I know why the second part they do like this. Because I think, ni teori Brazil aku lah, when they know that they can leverage Marvel, yang diorang tahu yang Spider-Man tu diorang punya, and then Marvel kata, okay, we need to make something for you lah. Maksudnya, Spidey macam kita dengar boleh masuk MCU ke apa benda kan. So, I think that's why this kind of Venom, yang nombor 2 ni, dia buat sambil lewa saja. Sebab they know, it gonna connect with MCU, so better dia buat cerita ni jadi sampah, because nak tak nak, dia akan masuk MCU juga. Sebab tapi kalau diorang tak ada lagi harapan, jawapan daripada Marvel, yang macam dia nak palih balik macam mana, I think they gonna make it very different dan diorang tak akan bunuh Carnage. Because they know that they got the deal to masuk dalam MCU because of what the post credit is. So diorang sampahkan benda ni, kita sampahkan semua benda, bagi apa-apa, because we know in the end we can go to the MCU. So teori Brazil aku, it's watchable, cuma satu je. Aku rasa yang last tu, kalau dia tak bunuh Carnage, aku boleh terima. Tu je.
Ya, aku tak boleh terima.
Dia tak
dia makan kepala Carnage tu. Lepas tu dia cakap, fuck it. Dia macam, fuck the SSU, we don't care.
Aku dah macam ni tau. Okay, mesti Carnage lah ni, Carnage. Babi lah kau, butuh lah. Ada dua benda tak sebelah sini ya. First, Carnage kena makan. Second, kenapa Carnage dengan Clash sini ada konflik? Butuh lah benda tu. Kalau dibuat konflik tu boleh di-resolve kan, aku faham. Tapi tak resolve. Okay, aku punya teori Brazil dalam MCU nanti apa-apa, dia akan retcon balik. Dia nak fuck upkan cerita ni bagi orang lupa. Because okay, gagahnya ni, kau tengok MCU nanti Okay guys, ni tak ada kita orang buat ni sebenarnya nak leverage dengan Marvel je. Tengok kita boleh buat duit dengan Tom Hardy. So yeah, I think it's 6, you can watch it. Tapi kalau dari segi bastardization, tak boleh lah. Because the post credit save it. Kalau tak ada post credit macam tu, aku bagi 4 lah. Post credit buat okay, ada harapan lah. Maksud kau memang fikir lah kau nak buat besar lagi. And I give it 6 lah. Ada lagi aku nak cakap ni, tapi tu next segment.
Okay.
Kau punya Carnage tu bodoh siap.
2 points for the post credit. I love you lah, man.
2 point. Aku macam post credit tu kuat post credit tu.
Aku rasa it is the most expensive post credit scene in history or at least in the history of superhero films.
Sebab macam ni tau. Okay, Sony dengan Fox dengan Marvel, Sony dengan Marvel macam-macam bertelagah kan. Even Fox you nak serap benda pada Fox nak masuk Marvel, masuk Disney dengan Marvel, kau kena beli bilion-bilion. Ini macam, tak asal pasal korang boleh bersalam. Maksud Civil War dah bersalam, boleh bersalam balik. Aku cakap, So that's why it's mahal lah bagi aku. 2 point aku sekredit dia. That one the save it The save part, dalam masa Carnage aku dah ketua harapan lah. Tengok post credit, dia nak cakap pasal ada hint benda. Lepas tu tukar-tukar, lepas tu aku tengok Spidey MCU macam, okay, bagus. Itu saja pendapat aku.
I think that even if of course lah it's a theory Brazil kan, so but even if any percentage of that is true, kalau benda yang kau cakap tu betul, they choose a very expensive way to burn the money that they make from the first Venom film. So there is no way in any world that is a good business decision. And Sony is not exactly the richest entertainment brand in the moment. So I know it's a theory Brazil, but if any percentage of that is true, it's dumb. So if you are going to do that regardless, what's wrong with just making a half decent film? After you've made a barely decent decent first Venom film, how hard is it to replicate that and not change anything? This one, you basically took all the...
It's because of the creative team, bro. The guy that did Deadpool, that also did Venom, left. And then you had
what creative team? What creative team?
the director for Venom 1
Tak ada
was one
creative
of
team,
the...
that's the joke. There is no creative
Yeah.
team. That's the joke. What creative team?
Apa itu
There's no
kreatif?
story. There's absolutely no story. It's basically animators get to run away with the storyboard. And then they decide, oh, this is pretty cool. I don't know lah. I mean, of course, I'm being very cynical and sarcastic. Tapi my point is, macam, bro, like, man, you, like Sony, when you did Venom, bila dia buat Venom, macam, oh, okay, Sony, great. Like, it's the second hit after Into the Spider-Verse. Alright, Sony, you might have just turned a corner. Yeah, you just turn, lepas tu you nampak corner tu, lepas tu patah balik.
Itu babi.
Tak, Jamal. Dia nampak corner tu sekali kami 5G. Sony, apa khabar? Oh, baik, kami khabar baik.
I don't know lah. Aku rasa dia benda-benda macam ni ya, yang Kevin Feige dengan Amy Pascal ataupun pengganti Amy Pascal macam, ni lah ni cerita Sony ni. Bagi muka,
nak
lipit tangan, kena handhold. Bila lepas handhold, tak sampai 2 yards, kau dah macam lost your way. So, I don't know man.
Dia macam ni lah. Marvel bagi betis dulu. Lepas tu bila dapat apa ke, dia terus lah. Oh, kita dapat masuk MCU. Okay guys, kita dapat masuk MCU guys. Okay guys. Yang skip saya okay guys. Tom Hardy pun macam, tak apa. Duit. Aku nak masuk MCU nanti guys. Itu lah. Oh my god.
Is there anything you want to say?
I agree with what Jamal was saying lah. We don't know what they want to do. What you try to do creatively. But end of the day, the feeling that I get for this movie is kau nak buat all this kecantikan, dari segi macam mana pun, it's just to justify the extra money that you have been given. I don't need that vibe, and that vibe shouldn't be received at all. So apa Jamal cakap tu aku 100% setuju.
Okay. At the end of the day, persoalan utama aku adalah ke manakah hala tuju Sony Spider-Man Universe SSU, especially dengan Morbius, dengan Craven, kalau you can squander your IP macam Venom, Carnage ni. Where will the future go for SSU? Itu yang aku takut lah. Dan itu persoalan.
I think Kevin Feige is thinking, macam Jamal cakap pegang tangan apa, and Wan also cakap the same thing. Kevin Feige is like, lantak kau lah, tengok, you will bury yourself. I really try to hold your...
Aku tak buat apa-apa pun. You will fuck up yourself until you die.
You do you.
Yeah.
You do you.
I mean, like, they were involved in Homecoming, and then apa nama?
Far From Home.
Far From Home. They were involved in that. Okay, extensively enough to know how to write a Spider-Man character or how to do a Spider-Man film, with or without Spider-Man. Venom has always been an anti-hero, except for the very first few issues or very first couple of years when he was introduced, sebab dia ganas. Tapi keganasan tu is because of the symbiote. Keganasan tu bukan disebabkan Eddie Brock. Carnage ganas sebab Cletus Cassidy. So the symbiote doesn't mirror that. The symbiote augments that some more, and sort of like actualizes Cletus Cassidy in psychotic side. Venom has always been anti-hero. So in some ways, especially in the first film, nampaklah dia punya anti-hero one tu. Tapi at the end of the day, you had the opportunity and you were part of very successful Spider-Man films, even going back to the early noughties. The first two Spider-Man films. I would give them a success. The Spider-Man 2 was fucking awesome. Like, if not for Homecoming, Spider-Man 2 would still be the best Spider-Man film. Okay, period. Live action, period. Nobody will ever forget Doc Ock. I think the pressure from that was how good it is. Petik balik, bawa balik Doc Ock in No Way Home. But the point is that kau dah Sony, kau dah ada 20 tahun punya experience buat Spider-Man punya film. How can you still
nampak dah tunjuk dah Sarah Raimi tu Feris tu.
Nampak Feris.
Wow. Okay. Alright guys, so instead of kita punya sesi malam ni menjadi a bitching session tentang masa depan Venom di MCU. Alright, jadi kita akan bincangkan 3 soalan berkaitan dengan masa depan Venom di MCU. Pertama adalah berkaitan dengan No Way Home. So, soalan aku untuk semua para panelis adalah adakah babak post credit Venom Let There Be Carnage akan berkait dengan filem Spider-Man No Way Home? Pasal kalau korang tengok trailer, kan ada apabila Doctor Strange menjerit, they're starting to come true and I can't stop them. Adakah dia bermaksud bahawa watak Venom daripada SSU juga bakal membuatkan penampilan cameo nanti? After all, pengarah Andy Serkis ada mengatakan tentang post credit tu, we wanted to leave the audience knowing that these universes are going to somehow collide, and we wanted to do it in such a way that it still leaves so much open and we're not timing anything. The portal has not been crossed fully. It's opening up more questions, I suppose, rather than sort of firmly saying anything. It is a tease. It's a tease in the fullest sense of the word. Jadi
Aku nak
silakan Jamal.
betulkan
Silakan.
ayat Andy Serkis tadi. We wanted to do it in a parenthesis expensive way to show that this is connected.
Memang
Aku-
expensive tu.
I think Andy Serkis is feeling himself a bit there lah. Reminded me of the first Suicide Squad punya director when he's talking about his films outside of the film after lepas filem tu keluar. I think he's too close to the film to not be able to be objective about it and say that it's very pedestrian, it's mediocre, as watchable as it is dated and tak ada, it doesn't call back to anything. There's no fan service sangat. It's just that. So aku rasa he got excited. I think he had a lot of enablers lah. I think there was somebody that did not have focus or vision to him back atau Tom Hardy back in the writing. So aku rasa benda tu you can still say all that and still do a decent enough film and still say that. So this is not that case. And I think you cannot defend a film by talking about a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like if you want to set this up as the film that hinted or as the film that opened the door for the MCU and the Sony Spider-Man cinematic universe to collide, God, you could have done such a much better job. Because it doesn't just set up the MCU, it also sets up your future Spider-Man universe Sony films. But no, you didn't do that. And I think maybe the decision starts with the fact that they hired Andy Serkis as the director.
Yeah.
Wrong film. Right, maybe right director. I'm pretty sure he's a great director. He's so experienced, but definitely wrong film. Yeah.
Okay, Feris, silakan Feris.
So you question whether he will muncul in No Way Home? That will
Yeah, based on that post credit where dia start jilat screen tu macam, I like this boy. Aku macam butuh. You don't even know who the fuck this boy is, but I like this boy. Silakan.
Okay, unmute lah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I think Venom will come to No Way Home, but I'm not looking forward to it somehow. I don't care if he appears or he appears. If he appears, I don't think he'll appear in the movie because if he appears in the movie, there would have been at least some paparazzi photos or some photo leaks by now. Kalau dia nak appear in the movie pun, he would appear in Spider-Way No Way Home punya post credits. That's what I think. He could come in and say, "Oh, am I too late?" Something like that. But I don't think he'll be part in the fight.
Korang dah habis gaduh ke? Korang dah habis gaduh ke?
You know? That kind of thing. Because for me, Spider-Man No Way Home have much bigger things involved. And I think Marvel is smart enough not to put so much villains in the movie because historically, kalau kau tengok Sam Raimi punya Spider-Man 3, when you put so many villains, it's just orang memang tak suka. As it is, dia dah banyak, you know. As far as what I'm looking forward in Spider-Man No Way Home, I'm looking forward to other things rather than Venom. I'm sure he'll come somehow, but not in the capacity of fighting Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland. He will just come like a pedestrian, Just tengok, itu.
Spekulasi menarik.
Yeah,
I would tadi aku tak jawab soalan. Aku rasa aku punya spekulasi adalah Brock akan terlepas titisan simbiot kat dalam MCU.
Whoa.
Like how he did that to create Carnage when he broke free of the prison, he might do the same in MCU.
So kerja Venom ni hanyalah merembeskan titisan je lah.
Yeah, just like the movie lah.
Betul.
Merembeskan.
This is highly unlikely, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be. I would be. I would put a little bit of money on Feige surprising everyone, and like macam we know we couldn't do Venom because of how things panned out between us and Sony. But we are going to do our best to honor Venom the character like how we honored Spidey in Civil War. So I have a feeling, I'm putting some money on an outside chance that they decided to do this by giving him something important even though dia punya screen time tak banyak.
Okay. Nazir, pendapat kau macam mana Venom boleh kenal Peter Parker bila dia lompat ke MCU? Random mas, silakan.
Aku teringat the first Venom. The reason kenapa AD pindah ke SF sebab dia ada isu dengan Daily Bugle dekat New York. So the Bugle already established in the first Venom tau. So the post credit they jump into the MCU universe. For some reason, I think this is probably a Venom from Andrew Garfield universe sebab for sure Venom from Maguire dah mati. Dah meletup kena pumpkin bomb. But we haven't see Mark Webb universe fully yet.
Ya, tapi the Daily Bugle logo is from the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire punya universe.
That's the thing. Okay, sebab FYI, J. Jonah Jameson also wujud dalam The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but only as an email name saja. Tak ada apa-apa watak ke apa. So you know, one fact we know, JJ boleh hidup tiga universe. Raimi, Mark Webb, and also currently punya MCU.
Okay.
So it could be. But my opinion, I think, okay, sebab macam Feris cakap, paparazzi apa semua. Feris, this is how Hollywood keep it under wrap. Even the news yang Harry Styles become abang pada Thanos pun kita tak tahu until Variety bodoh-bodoh pergi leakkan benda tu. Pergi spoil kan. We don't know until at the very close. So I think this is the same method where studio have some kind of a very strict contract where actor cannot say a shit about thing actually. You maybe can sprinkle like a cell bay a bit, but you cannot say a detail. So 50-50 sebab kita tak tahu who is the sixth member of the Sinister Six. Sebab sekarang we have a 5 villain, right?
Yeah.
Five, yeah.
So I mean, come on, ala-ala kau nak make it 5, why not make it 6 terus kan? So who is the 6th member?
Batman from Mobius.
Is either Mobius.
Batman pula, Vulture from Mobius.
Well, okay, is either Vulture ataupun Mysterio. Sebab dekat cover for the majalah Empire, on the top right corner, there is a logo of the fishball tau. A fishball icon kepala Mysterio.
Yeah, but that was like a pop art cover for Empire. It wasn't really
cover,
like an official poster untuk No Way Home, right?
It's just a theory lah,
Something is like, maybe itu graphic designer Empire yang buat dan bukannya Marvel atau Sony yang buat. So kita tak tahu.
Well, we know Sony graphic design Kaki copy paste tambah stock image. So what do you expect, man? Intern buat kerja, babe. What do you expect?
Yeah, I think this one is from Empire magazine pasal dia tak nampak macam copy paste job.
Yeah. And also aku setuju dengan Jamal lah. Aku rasa is either Venom akan keluar dekat post credit scene di mana mana mungkin dia nampak dia ada Spider-Man back to their home world, home universe. Lepas kata the battle is over already, maybe. Ataupun maybe dalam lawan tu ada satu scene tengah lawan apa semua, and Eddie dengan Venom tengah lempak dekat Mexico, dekat satu pulau Mexico tengah enjoy. Maybe that time dia tanya
tengok berita lagi. What is happening
should we
in
hide them?
New York?
No. It's not our battle. Mana tahu kan. And also aku nak tambah sikit pasal Venom punya battle damage tu, sebab on the first movie kita tengok Venom punya invisibility tu memang ketara gila. Memang dia kena tibai dengan riot pun dia still boleh tu. Tapi kenapa dalam the second ni dia macam lembik gila-gila? Adakah sebab dia
It's a red one. Dia takut dengan
So
red
what?
one, bro. Aku tak tahu, dia tak
Okay.
explain. Aku tak tahu.
And lepas tu part dia ketika ada darah, aku macam, dude, you are Venom, you can heal anything, you can heal physical injury like a stab. Kenapa sampai ada darah dekat badan kau? Kenapa kau tiba-tiba become OVP? Adakah sebab engkau tak cukup makan ayam? Salah aku.
Bro, dia tak makan ni orang. Tu boleh lah bagi giveaway lah, boleh lah. Sebab dia tak makan. Jadi tak bagi makan, bro. Kau tak boleh makan ayam ke? Kau kena makan orang.
Even Carnage yang makan manusia pun at the end of the battle kena nerf bodoh-bodoh macam tu je. Memang kena nerf gila-gila. Sedangkan at the end of the battle tu kita tahu okay, Carnage boleh kalahkan Venom, tapi Carnage boleh kena movie magic, dia just nerf like that only. Aku macam, apa, this is the fucking worst Deus Ex Machina, the worst ever lah.
Bro.
Sebab dia bukan, dia tak rated R kot. Is that one of the reasons why lah kau rasa?
Might be lah. In the end you just suck by your own blood like that. Tak sedap lah. Cipai betul.
Plus kita kena tengok Sony punya track record for films, regardless of whatever genre. They don't push the envelope. It's a Sony thing. They have a sweet spot and they have a comfort zone, and they rarely operate outside of that. Even Fox, kita tahu, in their stable of films, they will have a nice little section and nice little corner for, you know what, we just feel, you know, a little bit experimental or adventurous lah, if not experimental. So Sony tak pernah ada benda tu. They have always been very consistent contributors to the blockbuster seasons. So this is just a poor attempt, a poor entry to that lah. Because diorang tak berani nak push the envelope, they've never needed to push the envelope. So outside of Into the Spider-Verse lah, but that one pun probably because they got the right team without them realizing. It's more of the team making it a beautiful film as opposed to, and in fact that's how Sony punya the better Sony films have been. It's always something that goes slightly under the radar. The team made it made it good, as opposed to, okay, this is a Sony project. Dan kita tahu kalau Sony punya project, more often than not is a good film. I think that's why lah kot. I think it's Sony really has to stop making films or learn how to make films more seriously, like the better ones that they've done before lah. So.
Silakan Wan, pendapat kau tentang Eddie Brock di MCU.
Aku rasa dia akan datang juga. Aku dapat rasakan bukan kat post credit lah, dia akan datang juga dalam tu. Just macam, tapi dia akan blur-blur. Aku nak buat apa? Lepas tu dia nampak Spider-Man tu dia terus serbu. So it's kind of like macam just nak penuhkan tick lah aku rasa. Okay, siapa villain Spidey lagi dalam tu? Okay, Venom. Kan kita tick. Sebab Dr. Strange kata dah terbuka banyak sangat kan. So maybe ada villain pun datang juga. Dan of course aku rasa Venom mungkin salah satu juga daripada benda tu. Tapi mungkin teori aku salah, sebab kita nampak bila post credit scene tu, bila benda tu bertukar, Venom tak masuk portal apa-apa tau. Dia macam dekat still dalam hotel tu lagi. So we don't know adakah dia akan jalan macam Feris cakap, jalan-jalan kau tengok, Mamat ni. Kan lepas tu kata, this battle aku tak nak masuk apa. Cuma aku dapat rasakan apa yang berdasarkan apa yang Andy Serkis ni cakap lah. That's why bila aku bagi 2 point untuk post credit tu memang betul. Sebab dia buat benda ni mata-mata nak bagi post credit saja. Itu yang macam kata post credit tu lah kau nak buat fan apa jadi gila kan. Venom nak masuk. Tapi cerita jadi sampah. Which is tak kena dengan apa yang kita nak, because Carnage is an iconic character. Lepas tu kau bunuh Carnage macam tu in hoping maybe you can bring back Carnage in the another alternate universe because Dr. Strange dah tukar. Which is bagi aku is a cheap lah, disrespectful lah. And then lepas tu kau buat Carnage tak simbiot dengan ni, macam very what we call lazy story writing, just because kau nak cukupkan, kau nak cari pasal macam mana Venom boleh kalahkan Carnage. So it's like you want to make Venom a hero in the movie by defeating a villain yang macam kau nak tip ingat tu. Dan lepas tu kau nak bawa dia masuk balik ke MCU just because for the sake kau nak bawa dia masuk MCU. So yeah, that's why when you say and dia sekis cakap pasal filem ni just berdasarkan post credit, memang betul. Dia nak buat berdasarkan post credit. Which is bagi aku belah bagi sebab at the same time aku nak tengok Venom masuk MCU. Tak apa kisah sangat. Tapi at the same time, macam Jamal cakap lah, Sony ada banyak-banyak resources tapi kau tak boleh buat filem. Lepas ni apa kan jadi kat SSU? Kau ada banyak property Marvel, property Spidey lah. Lepas tu kalau SSU kau treat macam ni juga. So aku tak ada harapan lah. Aku tak ada harapan aku nak lawan dengan Marvel balik kan. Tak nak kau akan jadi macam dulu balik. Macam Spider-Man dan macam ni kau minta tolong kat Marvel juga. Lepas tu Marvel aku tunggu. Kau mati je aku akan makan kau punya franchise. Kau ni aku akan makan franchise kau. Tu macam Faji buat sekarang. Dah elok-elok kau dah dapat leverage. Lepas tu kau alpha dengan leverage kau. Memang kena lah. But we see how it's gonna be lah. But sedih lah sebenarnya Venom ni. Tu sajalah pasal post credit.
Another way I can imagine Venom coming is not only like I said lah, macam post credit tadi I said, oh dah habis ke. Another way I can imagine is dia Tom Hardy ada scene dengan J.K. Simmons, you know, because you know Eddie Brock is strongly connected with Daily Bugle. Lepas tu when Tom Hardy goes to the street, lepas tu dia tengok there's a fight going on, and then Tom Hardy tanya Venom internally, should we join? Tapi Venom cakap not yet, another time. Lepas tu ciao, you know.
It could since you mentioned that, it could also be just to aku tak tahu lah fan service ke apa ke. Venom, Eddie Brock is finding his way and then happens to run into J.K. Simmons. And then J.K. Simmons marah. Where the fuck have you been? Kan?
Yes.
J. Jonah Jameson cakap, where the fuck have you been? And then Eddie Brock kata,
go.
and then it goes on from there.
I think that'd be cool. Dia macam,
Oh, betul juga.
Kau siapa babi? Lepas tu tiba I think that'd be cool lah.
That I imagine that scene because I'm channeling the vibe of Terrence Howard punya Rhodey in the first Iron Man. Kan dia tengok not now baby, not now. You know, lepas tu ciao.
Next time baby.
Lepas tu tak dapat.
Next time baby.
Lepas tu Rika Tom Hardy, bodoh.
Yang recast Tom Hardy tu, aku rasa it might make sense even recasting Tom Holland because one thing that Marvel is trying to do here is trying to juggle a lot of things. They are trying to solve a real life question of ownership in terms of IP and characters by addressing that in film by using the multiverse yang dah punya device yang dah ada tu tau. So and they have already, well, it's pretty much an broken secret that Tobey and Andrew Garfield is going to be in No Way Home. Meaning to say Peter Parker ada dalam banyak-banyak universe dan every Peter Parkers doesn't necessarily have to be the same actor. So why can't it be the same with Venom? And if they can do if you get Tobey into Andrew Garfield in Sony itself, lepas tu from both of them to Tom Holland in MCU, why can't you have from MCU back to Sony some other different Peter Parker punya actor? So by that same token, you can have a Tom Hardy Venom in Sony punya universe, but you can have an XXX actor punya Venom in MCU because you have the Marvel universe punya very convenient multiverse punya.
Tahu. Lepas tu MCU punya version casting dia adalah black gay. That's it, bro.
No, it depends on the actor. But my point is that I mean, if you want to put Brock in there, that could be one of the ways, and that could be one of the ways yang macam dia juggle this very tricky thing of balancing joint ownership of joint treatment of Spidey while respecting Sony punya ownership of them, tapi at the same time nak jaga Sony versus Disney, lepas tu nak jaga Marvel in the MCU punya universe. That could be one of the things that they could use lah. You know, it could be that. Aku tak tahu. I feel that must have been discussed at some point. So kalau Eddie Brock boleh datang and then J.K. Simmons kata, where the fuck have you been? It would mean that you can have an Eddie Brock Venom in an MCU.
Maybe.
But the characterization would be different.
Yeah.
Because it just looks the same kan. Sama lah macam Doc Ock nampak, oh you're not Peter Parker.
Yang versi ni bro, yang versi ni will actually have a spider on his chest.
Yeah.
Bukan
So
bullshit.
finally kan, oh my god,
Yeah.
not the bullshit. Yeah. Aku rasa masa Sony buat the first Venom macam comel sangat lah benda tu tak nak letak. That is why they leave it there, because it's the symbiote. Dia kena ada benda tu. But anyway, aku rasa that could be one of the ways lah. Because we have a very handy and convenient tool that is Doctor Strange.
Okay.
And kita dah nampak kat dalam Loki dia dah pakai benda ni, kita dah nampak kat dalam WandaVision dia pakai benda ni. And they have experimented that on TV, they have experimented that on film. And in fact, I would even go as far as you don't have to just do this on screen. It could be that Sony finally bucks the trend with Marvel and go like, you know what? Okay, fuck it. We'll stop doing Venom films. We'll do Venom TV series instead because we want to. Could be that.
Yeah,
also.
but that's the problem. Sony is the only studio in Hollywood that does not have a streaming service. Everybody else ada Paramount Plus, Disney Plus.
It's not a difficult thing to do. You just do the film with Marvel, do another collaboration, whatever you call that. But you still put Sony's name in there lah. It's not. I don't think it's a. They can. Benda boleh settle. Benda yang macam okay, this is just siapa ownership, siapa production company, siapa production house dan sebagainya. Benda tu boleh buat je. But I feel that there are many ways. It's just that make sure that they when it's just Sony on their own, they will always mess things up. They always mess things up. It's more like they try hard and they are desperate to keep the property so much that they take anything that is possible as a script or as a story and do the film just because they takut they lose the property and the income while at the same time actually collaborating with Marvel for Spider-Man. I just think that is so pelik. So it is very clearly the boardroom punya pressure as opposed to some head honcho in Sony Pictures himself. Ni mesti Sony board directors kata jangan lepaskan property ni. So tak boleh buat apa.
Kalau aku nak tambah apa Jamal cakap tu, #PlayStation 5. Tu je cakap. Itulah sama perangai. PlayStation 5 pas sekarang tak cukup-cukup. Sama lah macam ni filem apa benda yang kau buat Sony. Memalukan company Jepun ke tu. Aku macam apa lah kau buat. Tu je lah aku nak tambah.
I have a feeling that it's Sony America versus Sony Japan. Because Sony Japan tak ada isu di Japan. Dan Sony America dan di Amerika orang tak kisah pasal Sony Japan. So it has to be Sony America that's becoming ni ya.
Linian lah. Macam
linian ke atau dia macam nak kalau kat Amerika kita kena ikut America punya way. Macam lepas tu Sony Jepun just ketiga orang.
Dia boleh lepas tangan macam 5G kan.
And Sony is always a Japanese company kan. So macam peduli apa.
Yes.
So settle kita. As long as Japan is safe, ketiga orang lah. You Amerika kena buat apa pun. Korang CEO je, worst case scenario kita pecat je lah, bayar beli CEO hire CEO baru.
Yeah, indeed. Alright guys, so dengan itu berakhirlah segmen ini dan kita akan ke soalan kita yang kedua. Alright, so pagi tadi laman sosial media gempar ya dengan pengesahan ataupun pengumuman, aku tak sure rasmi ke tidak, oleh Amy Pascal. Kak Amy kita ni cakap banyak. Dia interview dengan Fandango dan dia mengatakan bahawa this is not the last movie that we are going to make with Marvel. This is not the last Spider-Man movie. We are getting ready to make the next Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland and Marvel. We're thinking of this as 3 films and now we're going to go on to the next 3. This is not the last of our MC movies. So soalan aku untuk Feris, adakah ini Kak Amy kita meracau seperti biasa ya? Because this was not re-reported by Variety ataupun Hollywood Reporter. Adakah ini Kak Amy jumping the gun?
Yes, she is jumping the gun because Kevin Feige tak keluar apa-apa statement kan lagi about this.
Tak. Macam biasa, Abang Feige kita diam je. Abang Feige kita macam
kita diam. Because remember the pergelutan antara Sony sekejap datang kat aku, lepas tu kau perajuk, aku bagi kau balik, lepas tu datang kat aku balik, you know. So I think it's Amy jumping the gun lah. She's jumping the gun because I think she's smart enough to realize No Way Home is, gathering a lot of hype, you know. Let's collate the business thing there. Fandango is quite reputable lah, tapi but not as reputable as Variety and Hollywood Reporter. So apa Kak Amy Pascal cakap ni, I just take with a grain of salt lah. Aku tunggu Kevin Feige cakap apa. Okay, Nick dah caw.
Dia pergi tanda cakap.
Aku, for me, Amy Pascal just needs to learn how to read the room.
Yes.
She just doesn't read the room. And I'm saying this because on top of whatever you said, Feris, Tom Holland has been interviewed and he has very passionately, as a young and adulting actor, cakap, I have to be realistic. If I'm doing Spider-Man until I'm 30s, something is not right there. So Amy, please read the room. Tom Holland is speaking, so Tom Holland pretty much wears his heart on his sleeve. So he is speaking very passionately about, how he foresees, how he's projecting the next 5 to 10 years of his career. And part of that is that he is considering, he's thinking that he cannot be doing Spider-Man forever. And semua orang setuju benda tu. So, and not to say setuju as in that's the right thing to say, but semua orang boleh empathize dengan what Tom Holland is saying. So Amy, soon after that, makes this kind of statement. So she is not reading the room at all. Feige is not saying anything, has never been saying anything. And then kena somehow or other, not necessarily put out the fire, tapi kena do something based on what Amy has said. And then Tom Holland has just said something in a very emotional moment sebab, yelah, this is my last Spider-Man film officially, up to this point. And then dia dah fikir, okay, kerja-kerja lain, job-job lain sebenarnya. And Amy decides to come up with this. So now when she says this, if some reporter goes back to Holland, Tom, what do you think about what Amy said? Agak-agak Tom nak cakap apa?
Sedih bapak.
So she just needs to learn how to read the room, and be as excited, as geeky as she is, very passionate, very excited, but just learn how to read the room and not say things like that. Faham tak? I mean, like, kalau ayat dia adalah, I hope that we get to do more than 3 films. I have told Feige I feel that we should be doing that. Kalau dia cakap macam tu, then it's different. Okay lagi.
Kalau dia cakap, okay, I hope we gonna do more future films. Yes, I agree you, Jamal. Okay. Tapi dia dah letak nombor 3 kat situ tau.
Correct, yes.
Letak ambil kau.
Dia
So, if I was Tom Holland, I was like, alamak, apa dia future macam mana? Dah confirm lah. Yalah, ada 3. So, betul lah.
For all I know kan, Tom Holland WhatsApp Feige cakap apa tau? Dude, you always give me shit when I fumble and I spoil tak sengaja. And Amy is saying this, come on man. We just discussed about the next 2 Spider-Man trilogies in the next 15 years and Amy just told this. I thought we were supposed to keep our mouth shut for all I know lah kan. Betul Feige macam, sialah.
Bodoh lah.
Kalau orang SMS aku pasal Tom Holland, ni Tom Holland SMS aku pasal Amy Pascal. Yang dia tak pernah SMS kan, Tom Holland pun dah rimas. So macam mana ni sekarang? For all I know lah. But jokes aside macam she just needs to learn how to read the room and then at least phrase her excitement better. She just has to phrase it better.
Yeah. Here's what I don't think
dia tak PR langsung for somebody in a position tak PR langsung in that sense.
Sebagai seorang penerbit,
the problem dengan makcik Amy ni, ever since Homecoming masa dia interview berdua tu, dia boleh cakap lagi, oh tak apa, Venom kau akan nampak Venom dengan tahun sekali Kevin macam, kau biar betul sial, dia cakap macam tu, without any proper communication.
Tak, okay, aku rasakan maybe for her, but all this is just pure, random coffee table talk lah.
Yeah.
Dia jenis, dia mungkin, because this is Feige, for him to be able to execute all this shit for the past 26 films means dude's a fucking mastermind kan. Meaning, bila dia masuk meeting, dia takkan kata, okay, nanti kita buat lagi 3 filem Spider-Man. Tak, dia akan cakap, okay, sebenarnya kat Marvel, kita dah seimbang dah. For the next 7 years, ini plan kita orang. Jadi, kita dah letak placeholder 3 Spider-Man punya filem. The second film kita nak buat macam ni lebih kurang. Third film kita nak buat macam ni lebih kurang. We are considering maybe to put Venom in here, blah, 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 blah. So, and then we are discussing with you in good faith. Sony/Amy. And because of that good faith punya convo, yang dah drop name, tapi of course lah kau kena drop name sebab kau dah buat one
one big
proposal,
announcement.
one proposed timeline ke benda schedule for the next 7 years. Amy macam, okay, you're gonna see this, you're gonna see that, just because Feige macam dah petik benda tu, it's something that we need to consider. Sebab apa, dia tengah nak setting universe kan. So this is her lah, she doesn't check herself. And if that's the case, dia macam, is it a problem with Sony? Amy doesn't check herself. The team doesn't check Tom Hardy punya script. Nobody checks Andy Serkis punya Venom 2. Venom 1 was like nobody checking, but everything seemed to be okay. Lepas tu Into the Spider-Verse tak ada orang check, so the creative team kata cool, we get to do our shit here. So takkan semua nak macam luck gila babi macam ni kot.
Betul.
I know lah.
Betul.
Okay, dia okay macam okay,
Sorry, Feris. Yeah,
Feris dulu.
Yeah.
We don't know how No Way Home is going to end. So we don't know Kevin Feige punya plan for Spider-Man.
Plans, yes.
For all we know, we won't see Spider-Man in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Tom Holland and Peter Parker could have died also. But what I know about Kevin Feige, he defends his MCU properly. Masa Black Widow ada kontroversi, Scarlett Johansson, proof. One day after that, dia counter dengan some sort of statement. Bila Shang-Chi, Simu, cakap pasal eksperimen. Yang dia bawa cantik, pop. Next day, Kevin Feige dah menyampuk. So let's just wait. If the next 1 or 2 days, Kevin Feige sejap, I can guarantee you Kevin Feige doesn't give a fuck. Bury yourself, maybe.
Either that or benda yang Amy cakap ni macam, you know what, this is not important enough for me to menyampuk. So macam, suka hati kau lah Amy, sebab benda tu tak critical. Which is even worse, because kalau tidak, sebelum ni dia bother tu menyampuk, sekarang ni macam aku dah tak kisah dah pasal kau, but thankfully benda yang kau merancang ni tak damaging sangat. Nothing is, dia macam loose-loose lah. So kita tengok lah Feige kalau dia menyampuk lah. Kalau pada muka Amy lah, like we get it, you're excited, cool, but like chill.
Cool.
Chill
girl,
like,
chill.
Dah ada certain benda aku tak payah cakap. Kalau benda tu dah on paper, dah settle lah, aku tak payah bising lah. Like,
Perangai Amy Pascal ni reminds me of Grace Randolph.
My God.
Grace.
Same vibe. Yeah.
Same vibe. Okay.
Tapi same vibe tapi dia baik sikit lah. Grace Randolph ni aku rasa kalau ada Grace Randolph dengan Amy Pascal dalam satu bilik, Grace Randolph will probably milk it, and Amy macam seronok gila and macam okay, jom pergi minum lepas ni. And then lepas tu dapat lagi. Then Grace
Dapat
Randolph,
2 jam punya video.
Aku dapat video untuk the next 3 bulan.
Baik punya.
Kak Amy cakap ni. Okay, Nazir, ada apa-apa kau nak cakap sebelum aku tanya soalan kepada para panelis? Silakan.
Okay, just one last statement. Bagi aku, diorang nak kacau mobil, aku tak kisah. Kau nak kacau Spider-Man Universe, aku tak kisah. Asalkan kau jangan kacau free load dengan Miller punya Into the Spider-Verse, cukup. Itu je aku dah. Yang tu betul-betul tak jauh-jauh. Kau nak kacau Tom Holland ke, kau nak kacau Jack Leto mobil ke, pergi kacau. Dan kau jangan kacau apa Into the Spider-Verse 2. Itu je minta. You can disturb anything, but Into the Spider-Verse, let it grow itself. Sebab sebab Into the Spider-Verse have also a creative team actually. Have a good writing team.
Okay, one short reply to Nazir.
Yes,
one short reply to Nazir very quickly. Orang lain tak perlu kacau Into the Spider-Verse lah. Sebab Arkane dah kacau.
What the fuck?
Rapping Nadzru dengan Wan dengan Arkane dah kacau. Sorry bro. Nothing against Into the Spider-Verse.
Tapi betul lah, pada pendapat aku, Into the Spider-Verse is the future of Sony.
Of Spider-Man info Sony.
Spider-Man Universe, yes. By the way, aku tak sempat tanya soalan ya untuk segmen ni pasal Kak Amy kita meracau, semua orang pun meracau juga. Soalan aku, okay, pada pendapat anda, adakah Venom akan terus tinggal di MCU dan terlibat di dalam trilogi terbaru Tom Holland Spider-Man selepas Spider-Man No Way Home?
Please.
Silakan.
Pada pendapat aku sebab dia nak set up null the God of Symbiote tu. They need something yang kena dengan Symbiote tu ada. So Venom will somewhere ada dalam tu, because on the post credit scene dalam Venom, dia dah cakap tadi he nak cakap 80 billion punya years yang otak kau tak boleh nak comprehend, bla 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 bla, tapi kena kacau sebab Doctor Strange punya magic. So aku rasa dia akan sambung cerita tu dalam dekat AD. And then maybe Venom in some way akan Doctor Strange akan dapat nampak benda tu, and lepas tu warn us about null in some way. So and how to say lagi dia akan tetap dalam MCU, but I don't know how it gonna go back to SSU lah. I think dia dalam MCU tu just macam dia mungkin akan lepak dengan J. Jonah Jameson. Dan aku suka teori Brazil Feris yang dia kata who the fuck are you kan. Rupanya Eddie Brock wujud dalam mulut tu. Oh sorry, teori Jamal, sorry. Mungkin lebih kurang sama.
Tapi Feris yang kata dia akan jumpa J. Jonah Jameson towards the end.
Okay. So Okay. Jangan marah. Nanti aku quote tu.
Tak, aku tengah baca komen. Nak tengok Black Cat.
So bagi pendapat aku dia akan kekal dalam MCU lah. Debat dia dah termasuk dalam tu, and then dia akan jadi Spidey punya sparring partner. But because of what yang Tom Holland dah cakap, and then lepas tu apa yang Amy Pascal dah cakap, and then according to universe MCU sekarang ni, we don't know where Spider-Man is punya ni. So adakah Venom ni dia akan muncul macam cameo dalam cerita yang lain just because nak bagi Null ni punya cerita naik. Maybe dah Guardian of the Galaxy ke. Tak tengok, Muhammad ni siapa? Lepas tu Null tarik kerap. Kau kenapa kau masuk universe ni? Mesti Null kata, kenapa masuk universe ni? Lepas tu tarik dia. Maybe Tom Hardy jadi orang yang agak berperanan sikit. Cuma, okay, tu teori aku pasal Venom lah. Tapi kalau aku nak cakap Amy Pascal ni, aku rasa bukan dia excited lah. Aku rasa dia gelabah tau. Mungkin dia nampak macam dia punya future tak ni. Dia macam ni lah, perempuan yang suka kat satu lelaki tu cakap dia, kita baik, tapi mungkin kita kawan je lah, kita test dulu. Tapi dia kata, aku nak kahwin dengan dia dah, aku nak tak kahwin dia, aku dah couple lama-lama, bla bla bla, makan lama-lama. Lepas tu Kevin Feige macam, orang tu macam, kita baru jumpa 2 hari kan, kenapa dia cakap macam ni? Lepas tu kalau dia tak menyampuk, dia tak kisah lah, kalau menyampuk kisah lagi lah. So I think Amy Pascal macam tu, trying to push too hard, so that dia nak setkan main orang. Okay guys, aku nak 3 filem ni, aku dah cakap dengan public lah, aku nak buat apa. Sama lah macam, mungkin dia ingat boleh berjaya tau.
Kalau kita dapat baby, you nak namakan dia apa?
Baru tujuh, baru Tinder date baby. No. Waiter, saya nak pergi tandas jawab apa semua.
What? Are you sure you're not projecting?
Itulah macam cerita betul.
Kan, macam cerita personal je.
Ya kan, bahaya. So, what I'm trying to say lah, I think Amy ni, because what we see he did with Feige before in 2017, kata dia nak macam nak tunjuk power sikit lah, make a statement. So dia nak try yang apa dia buat sekarang ni boleh tak jadi. So I kind of think maybe Feige can counter balik lah, maybe dia tak boleh bagi too much. But I kind of disappointed for Sony sebabkan diorang macam, kalau diorang macam ni PR diorang memang nak cara nak push sangat. I kind of think that Sony doesn't believe on their own self in order to make decent movie or good movie, because they have the Spider-Verse punya IP. Kita dah nampak harapan dekat Spider-Verse dengan Venom tu sendiri. Tapi bila dia dapat MCU punya buka sikit je, Kevin Feige buka kata okey kita nak pergi date sekarang. Boom. Okey kita nak kahwin, kau kenduri bila, bla bla. Anak kita nak tinggal kat mana, berapa lelaki, berapa perempuan. Macam bla jaga macam ni. So yeah, I think that is what Sony is. Lepas tu terus Alpha, dia tak payah fikir movie dia lain. So I'm kind of like very what we call takut dengan SSU nanti. But we see how lah. Kalau dia boleh berdiri atas diri sendiri boleh, tapi I think it's not going to be great as MCU lah. Dia hanya boleh kalau decent movie kita suka sebab Mobius sebab best. Tapi kalau kau nak rasa macam rich story building, universe connection, maybe tak ada. Sebab apa yang dia buat kat Venom ni macam dia mensampahkan teruk-teruk. So yeah, Sony kalau Amy Pascal perangai macam ni apa semua, I think you need a new punya set of mind lah. Kau janganlah.
Wan, aku ada soalan kat kau. Bila kau cakap tadi macam okay, Sony tak fikir benda-benda lain sangat, just focus on Into the Spider-Verse. Aku ada soalan nak tanya kau, which is, adakah sebenarnya Sony punya approach dengan Spider-Man punya films is not to fucking pay attention to their Spider-Man punya creative team and leave them alone? Sebab semua Spider-Man films yang dia tak berapa kisah sangat, semua jadi best. Tapi bila dia tiba-tiba macam nak jaga Spider-Man film tu, dia jadi try hard, lepas tu semua tak berjadi. So macam sebenarnya approach yang dia betul buat macam, sekali korang lah, hapus lah.
Ya, aku setuju. Sebab kalau kau tengok macam Sam Raimi kan, Spider-Man 1 dengan 2 best. Spider-Man 3 bila masuk kan, aku nak Venom, aku nak ni, aku kita babi lah kau. So macam Amazing Spider-Man pula, tak silap aku, diorang pun campur tangan banyak juga. And then bila kau tengok Spider-Verse, aku terkejut. Venom, I think tak banyak campur tangan kot. But I don't know what happened with Venom 2 lah. Venom 2 I think maybe sebab dia kata mungkin semua orang dah high masuk MCU. So diorang semua dah high, tak tahu buat apa, so dia buat macam tu saja. So aku setuju, Sony patutnya jangan kacau sangat. Kalau dia orang punya mentality macam tu, kau jangan kacau. Unless you are Kevin Feige, which is you not. I'm Pascal. Tu je.
Kalau macam dia terasa macam, we feel we want to do something with this film. Okay, don't do anything. Kalau dia terasa macam, and bila dia terasa macam tu je, dia dah kena ada orang ingatkan, okay, kalau kau dah cakap macam ni, means kau tak boleh buat apa-apa.
Wah,
Sebab the moment they start caring, then they gonna start really pressing stuff and interfering.
Aku rasa aku ada satu nasihat dekat bot apa, kalau bot Sony lah, kalau dia nampak Amy Pascal macam ni kan, bila nak buat apa-apa kan, dia ambil gambar kecinkan diri, tunjuk kat dia. Jangan. Lawak lagi sikit level lagi.
Kalau Amy Pascal kata, itu idola saya nak jadi macam dia.
You're fired. Aku call lah, jangan fire dia cepat. Dah tu je lah.
Yang Wan cakap tadi, kalau sebab aku cakap pada aku nampak Amy Pascal ni dia macam overexcited. Lepas tu dia tak boleh check herself. Wan kata dia ni gelabah. Macam in a manner of speaking, aku baik sangka, Wan buruk sangka lah.
Aku sangka lah.
Tapi regardless apa benda yang Amy cakap tu, dia bawa pressure kan. Dia macam Wan kata tadi, dia nak bagi pressure. Dan aku rasa benda tu natural. Sebab nama dia Amy Pascal.
Pascal bodoh.
Apalah,
macam mood of pressure. Kiwak tu bagus.
Kota malam ni tercapai.
Good.
Kota malam ni tercapai.
Berakhirlah segmen ajar kita untuk malam ni. So mereka yang belajar fizik, Amy Pascal tu penting, okay? Alright, so dengan itu kita akan ke soalan terakhir kita.
Feris dapat tahu, yes.
Lambatnya Abang Feris kita ni. Okay guys. So
berapa megapascal pressure dia. Kevin Feige kira is over 9,000 bro. Kau kena buat kau punya scout. Over 9,000.
Over 9,000 lepas tu kan, dia bawa keluar, dia buka benda ni, lepas tu dia crash. Macam
classic my friends.
Okay, so dengan itu kita akan ke soalan terakhir kita malam ini. Alright, jadi soalan terakhir kita malam ini adalah untuk semua panelis. Memandangkan Spider-Man No Way Home memaparkan musuh-musuh Spider-Man yang telah mati di Sony Spider-Man Universe, SSU, tapi kini hidup kembali di MCU, adakah Tom Holland Spider-Man in his new trilogy bakal bertembung dengan Venom dan Carnage versi baru ala-ala story arc komik 90-an, Maximum Carnage suatu hari nanti? Jadi kita mulakan dengan Jamal. Silakan Jamal.
I don't think so because I think Kevin Feige is a very respectful person. Dia very dignified. So aku rasa dah ada gentleman's agreement that the majority of the Spider-Man punya rogues gallery will be presented in the Sony punya Spider-Man universe. And I feel that he will keep his end of the bargain lah. For jokes, aku rasa the only way for Carnage to appear in MCU is in No Way Home nanti. Eddie Brock sampai, dia jadi Venom, dia muntahkan kepala Carnage, lepas tu Carnage. Sebab apa aku cakap macam tu? Sebab kan ada ayat Doctor Strange kat dalam trailer tu, dia kata they have to die because they died in their respective universe, so they have to die in this universe too. So Eddie Brock kena panggil oleh, kau itu makan kepala Carnage kan? Ni ada Carnage lagi seko, kena makan juga ni. I don't know lah, but that's just a joke lah. I feel that I don't think that we will see Carnage not anytime soon, until Marvel and Sony Disney and Sony has clearly resolved the ownership punya issue. And I think they will keep their gentleman's agreement lah. It's not fair to Sony, to be honest. Kalau dia dah buat Mobius, Craven is probably in production, in ni. So benda-benda tu it's not pre-production, so it's not fair for them to kacau benda tu lah. And it's not that Sony hasn't been able to do a decent Spider-Man film in the last 5 years. Into the Spider-Verse is a great success. So I doubt it lah, because the moment MCU decides to do it, with or without, even with Sony punya blessing, if they get Carnage for 10 minutes, they will give us Carnage for 10 minutes. And kita akan pegang 10 minit tu, dan kita akan compare 10 minit tu dengan Venom 2, dengan whatever future Sony films yang keluar yang akan ada Carnage. And I feel that that will definitely be one of the things that can come across in Feige atau the Marvel Studios punya minds, and macam, you know what, let's just keep the gentleman's agreement lah. And in all honesty, I'm in the camp yang aku rasa Mobius punya trailer looks fucking sick, and I'm gonna fucking watch it. If it sucks, I'll dislike it lah. Tapi so far, based on the second trailer tu, aku rasa lawa gila babi. It doesn't feel like Sony punya CGI to me. The way dia hilang kejap and dia terbang macam kain, macam bats tu, I really like it. So yeah, I'm personally I'm low-key looking forward to watching Mobius, because I'm pleasantly surprised with the second trailer. Even with the first trailer pun aku dah macam ada intrigue. So I don't think they will do this lah. You will not see Carnage lah. I doubt it. I think dia tak payah buat Carnage pun. Dia letak Venom. Kalau Brock tukar ada dekat dalam No Way Home, lepas tu Brock tukar jadi Venom je, everybody will lose our collective shit for the next 3 months. Confirm.
Yeah, man.
Even if it's just 2 minutes. Kalau dia sentuh Garfield atau Tobey Maguire atau Holland, we will lose our shit for the next 6 months. Kalau dia sentuh Vulture, Green Goblin, Dr. Ock, we will lose our shit for the next 1 year. Okay?
Yeah, man.
So, dia just
Aku nak
satu lah
tengok
Brock.
Tobey Maguire macam, apa sah kau lagi sado tu? Apa jadi
Kenapa
kau?
kau tak kurus?
I think it will be too much because the moment they do that, dia fan service tu ada. Cuma macam nanti kesian lah sebab the story is supposed to have Doctor Strange. So nanti Doctor Strange akan kena bypass. Sebab macam mana nanti Doctor Strange nak masuk balik conversation tu, because it will, from a story wise, kalau dia berjaya buat benda tu and we are all happy, so how are they going to end the film? They cannot end the film in any way that would satisfy
This
all of
will
us.
be continued in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, okay. Just for fun to oblige kan. Instead of them saying that, this will be continued in Venom 3. Then we will lose our collective shit. What the hell? Bukan setakat continuation cross studio.
Yeah.
Oh,
That would be cool. I'm up for that.
Yeah.
I'm up
kalau
for
kau nak tambah lagi kan, post credit tu kan, tengok Carnage sebenarnya hidup lagi. Waktu Venom 3 macam, kita perlu sound main.
Pada aku Carnage tak mati. Pada aku Cletus Cassidy mati.
Betul. Tapi jadi bodoh Banggang.
Carnage is a symbiote, so the symbiote will come out again. It's not a problem.
Yalah, tapi macam tak ada, tak apalah.
Awak
Sony,
Nazir,
kat dalam No Way Home.
Nazir, pendapat kau tentang Carnage dalam MCU Phase 5? Silakan.
Aku tak nak tengok Carnage lagi dalam Phase 5 sebenarnya. Sebab bagi aku dalam Venom 2 dia dah cukup teruk dah. Honestly, dia punya watak dia doesn't do justice. And Woody Harrelson is a good actor, great actor to be at, tapi not a good murderer lah. Honestly, dia tak ada killing intent punya vibe tau. Dia bukannya Cillian Murphy yang memang kau nampak sekali dah tahu dah, okay, this guy means serious.
Actually, Nazir, aku rasa one of the reasons why he became casted as Cletus Cassidy is because of natural born killers. Tapi the script did not give him back the natural born killers punya karakter.
Exactly.
Kalau dia dapat balik natural born killers punya karakter tu, then you will get your Cletus Cassidy lah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Itulah sebab sekadar riak muka tak cukup tau. Riak muka dengan rambut brunette tu tidak memadai sebenarnya.
Dah lah, it's a very bad wig. Wig tu macam apa tu.
Wig tu memang sampah gila sebab honestly kalau kita kira 3 kali kot AD ulang alik San Quentin tu jumpa dia. Kali pertama post credit scene, kali kedua ketiga dalam the Venom 2. And honestly aku rasa Carnage just let it be mati dekat Venom Universe lah. Tak payah nak drag mayat dia pergi masuk ke MCU lah. Cukup. We already had enough lah. But just for the fun purposes, we might see another kind of Carnage maybe inside maybe, tapi come on, aku rasa sekarang ni kita dah ada 5 villain, so dah cukup messy dah sebenarnya. We already have enough villain. Cukup. We don't need more actually. Aku rasa 5 or 6 is already more than enough sebab Tom Holland akan pening macam babi macam aku nak kalahkan semua orang ni. So masa tu dah teruk lagi dua tolong, but of course I just want to be myself be surprised. I just want to myself be wet by the awesomeness for two great actor, two great previous generations of the Spider-Man. So Carnage, fuck off. No more. Please no more.
Okay. Wan, silakan Wan.
Yes, what?
Aku nak tambah sikit apa Nazir cakap tu. Dia ada buat team song tadi kan. Apa kata kalau team song datang tu kan? Carnage ada semua. Tak ada masalah. Ambil kau sheng piu.
Oh, maksud kau bila Doctor Strange cakap I cannot stop it, they are coming. Maksud kau bukan orang Spider-Man je lah. Siapa boleh datang.
Leave X-Men the fuck alone.
Tak boleh.
Kau tak aku datang cik kau sendiri personally. Just
Okay,
leave them
dia
alone.
keluar kan.
Nama
Leave
filem
them
itu
alone.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Jangan
Bukan
kacau.
Spider-Man No Way Home X-Men.
Tak
Jangan
adalah, aku
kacau.
gurau je. Because it's too now, tahu it's new possible kan. Lepas tu semua orang buat Tori Bazir gini-gini. Cuma aku rasa lah, pasal Carnage ni, aku sebenarnya nak tengok dia ada juga tau. Bukan aku tak dapat. Aku bengang gila waktu Venom bunuh Carnage macam, kau ni bodoh lah Sony. Kau tahu tak Carnage tu bukan main orang punya ikonik punya karakter. Kan, even aku yang tak baca komik pun tahu Mamat ni gila kan, gilakan darah atau apa. And then you can lead to maximum Carnage. Kau boleh connect dengan cerita Nal tu lagi, yang dia buat zombie-zombie tu lagi. But bila dia bunuh Carnage, I have feeling yang maybe dia tak ada dalam MCU lah. Dia tak ada MCU because maybe Kevin Feige pun tak tahu nak buat macam mana. Mungkin tak ada niat lagi nak letak. Tapi kalau ada, maybe just dia muncul dia macam tu. Just macam apalah, aku setuju lah. Dari logical you don't see any Spider-Man movie yang ada. But I think Carnage will make a cameo when they want to say about Null. Tu je. Dia ada. Null kata ada, Venom pun ada. Just because dia nak set up Null tu, maybe dia akan ada. Tak semesti dalam filem Spider-Man lah.
You don't need Carnage because sebelum story arc King in Black tahun ni, there was absolute Carnage last year. Di mana Null bagi Carnage a power boost, lepas tu berleluasa dan menyediakan bumi untuk kedatangan Null, God of the Symbiotes to Earth. So kalau
tak boleh lah.
It's gonna be hard. Yeah, it's gonna be hard lah. Yeah.
Alah. But just a cameo lah. Macam bukan peranan dia tunjuk. Ada Mamat ni warna merah. Lepas tu macam, red. Tu je lah. Itu je lah aku nampak macam tu. Just nak fan service. Ni ada scene ni macam Carnage. Dah cukup. Waktu semua orang macam tepuk. Okey lah. Tata scene tu lagi kita sanjung 2 minit daripada macam apa yang daripada apa yang dekat dia tu. Itulah.
Okay, Abang Feris, pendapat Woody Harrelson MCU Phase 5 likely possibility or far away?
Woody Harrelson will always be I always say lah, the world may know you as Carnage, but you will always be Woody from Cheers to me. Betul. I mean, he's a nice boy. And he was, thank you Jamal for bringing in Natural Born Killers because I think he was really fucking good in that movie.
Yeah.
And also to add apa Wan cakap, I think X-Men will come through the multiverse but not in No Way Home. Tunggu dulu because I'm a big believer in the introduction of this multiverse, the Nexus event in Loki and Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness is just an excuse so that Feige boleh bawa the Fox property whichever way he wants.
Hugh Jackman.
Whichever lah.
Come back.
No.
No, I don't want Hugh Jackman. I want a shorter Wolverine. Just like the comics.
Okay.
I
Betul,
don't want
aku setuju dengan Feris. Aku rasa Tom Hardy should be Wolverine.
Whoever lah, I don't care. A shorter Wolverine.
yeah.
I don't want
I
Shorter
would
Wolverine,
love
janji pendek.
Tom Hardy as Wolverine would be fucking beautiful. Yeah.
I want a cut-it Wolverine. Back to your question, Carnage just remain in the SSU lah. Tak payah nak masuk MCU lah. But however, I strongly believe that Sinister Six will be the big surprise lah for No Way Home, which is not including Venom because I don't think Venom should be part of the Sinister Six.
Yes, setuju.
So, as it is, you make him an anti-hero. Then you make him part of the Six villain. Tak masuk akal. If you want to be part of the Sinister Six, you might as well make it jahat from the start. So to me, the Sinister Six,
kalau Venom yang lempang lizard tu,
teori Brazil kau.
Tadi I was thinking about something like that. I was thinking that macam if Venom is teased to be like that, then okay, we know, to me aku nampak ada 2 Green Goblin, ada Lizard, ada Electro, ada Sandman, and then whoever random 6-1 yang kita ada. So kalau kita ada 3 Spider-Man, kita ada Doc Ock, lepas tu kita ada Venom.
No.
Faham tak? Like kalau it could be like the Sinister Six is supposed to include Doc Ock, tapi Doc Ock buat dia tukar side. So dia jadi 5 lawan 5. Like I mean like you ask the comic book kid in me, I would want to see that lah. Brock get caught up in the knee. So we get that Sinister Six punya lineup, but we don't get Sinister Six per se because Brock dengan Doc Ock punya character tak cukup established in one film to become the bad guys. And because of wherever they come from, diorang macam aku pihak berkecuali, aku tak ada kena-mengena.
Jap. Tapi kalau tak
silap
silap
5 lawan 5 lah, you really get 5 versus 5.
that'd be nice.
Kalau tak
my vote Sorry, aku just nak tambah on the Sinister Six.
Ah.
My vote for Sinister Six is Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, William Dafoe as Green Goblin, Electro, Jamie Foxx, Sandman, Thomas Hayden Church, Lizard, Rhys Ifans, and the sixth one will be Michael Keaton's Vulture. Because we already seen him in Morbius.
Yeah, we've already seen him. Yeah.
In Morbius.
Yeah.
So that could be a surprise cameo. Okay, sorry. That's all.
Aku setuju dengan Feris juga. Cuma aku macam, sebab aku nampakkan kita dapat dua Green Goblin kan. So aku macam Doc
Oh no,
Ock
it's
masuk
the
Nick
same
Spidey.
guy, bro.
Oh.
It's still William Dafoe with Doc mask.
Oh ya ke? Okay, fine.
Kacau fantasi tu.
Okay lah.
Dia bukan Ned, dia bukan Dendihan, tolonglah. It's the same Goblin, guys. It's the same
Okay,
Goblin.
fine.
Yep. Kalau tak
Dia
silap aku.
dah mampus dah. Dah kena penyakit dah mampus dah.
Dendihan lah. Ya. Okay, silakan.
Kalau tak silap aku, in komik sini Venom tak pernah jadi Sinister Six kan? Betul tak? In the komik.
Pernah.
Bila Dia lah.
Back in the 90s. Nanti sekejap.
But he is not in the first iteration.
Disappearance.
He wasn't in the first iteration.
He's not in the first iteration, that's for sure, yeah.
The first
Okay,
iteration
okay.
was Mysterio, Vulture,
Rhino.
two Goblins.
Hawk
Okay,
dengan
Dr.
Green.
Octopus, Vulture, Electro, Mysterio, Sandman, Craven.
Sorry.
Craven.
Oh yeah. Because
1964.
because the two Goblins, Hobgoblin dengan Green Goblin tak perlukan Sinister Six pada ketika itu. Dan semua
Yeah.
member Sinister Six pada ketika itu memang semua kaki kena tapau dengan Spidey. So macam okay.
And by the way, Venom temporarily joined the Sinister Six to target Spider-Man, replacing Doc Ock. But after they betrayed him, he subsequently targets the other members out of revenge.
So dah lari member dia ni lah.
Yeah, he joined during the Superhuman Registration Act and detained by the Secret Avengers. So that was a few years. That was about 10 years ago.
So aku rasa mungkin Venom akan datang tolong Spidey kot sebab dia dah suka Spidey, dah jilat lah. Aku je boleh jilat dia, kau tak boleh jilat. Rasanya lah. So yeah, itu je lah. Itulah teori Brazil aku. Sorry, it's too weird.
Yeah, I was the last one to answer the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay lah guys, so dengan itu aku rasa berakhirlah sesi kita malam ini. It's not much to talk about the film because the film suck balls. Dan terima kasih kepada semua para panelis kita, Wan Muhammad, Jamal Raslan, Nazir Khan dan juga Feris. Jumpa lagi esok di mana kita bakal membedah trailer Spider-Man No Way Home. Dan hari Khamis nanti kita akan bincangkan Hawkeye. Itu saja untuk malam ini. Majulah fandom untuk negara. Bye guys.
Bye.
Jamal as Professor